podcast, ecwrestling.com. Tod is pod. Tod Gordon. Tod, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. How are you today?
Hot opening. I love that song. Someday or along the way, we'll play the whole song. We'll give 30 seconds. Yeah, it's hot.
Frank, we want to thank you again for giving us the opportunity to play Tod is Pod here on the podcast, ecwrestling.com network. Tod, we are almost at football season. We are in the middle of July, and it is time for our Philadelphia Eagles to defend our World Championship.
Derek. It's football season in Philadelphia. 12 months a year. That's correct. Not a lie. Put on talk radio, sports radio, Eagles. Put them in today's show. So like, go Birds. Like, yeah, there's months and months till the first game.
We still got weeks till training camp.
It's a phenomenon. These guys, you talk about ECW catching on. Philadelphia Eagles are like it. They're the shit, man. I love it. I suffered through enough 6 and 10 seasons, and I suffered my whole life.
Mm-hmm. And now my father's reminded me, I'm 40 years old. I've seen 2 championships in the last 10 years. And he said, I'm 60. I've only seen 2. So I understand that thought process.
I traveled with Ty Fullington, the Sandman's son. You remember little Tyrone and the Angled Raven and Sandman. Meanwhile, now he's like bigger than both Raven and Sandman. He's a giant with the guy with the bounty commercials with a big giant beard. Huge kid. Great kid. And he said to me, he's like, I don't remember any of that. Like, you guys, like, all I know is winning. Since I've been alive, the Eagles are always like winning. I go, dude, I spent like 50 years hoping they could make a wild card.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? These people, like, they don't understand what we suffer through.
Spoiled.
Well, they just don't know. They just don't know any other way that what we suffer through.
Speaking of things, they don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Talk to me about Valor and your role in this European new groundbreaking promotion that you got going on.
She told me where it's from already, But in Valor Wrestling, it's good. You're going to say
covering the UK and Scandinavia.
And Ireland and Austria. I mean, these guys are Scotland. They're a young group. They're a really good group. They got kids that are like just wanting to be the ECW of Great Britain, of everywhere. They are great. They're starting out just like we did. They started with the bar shows. But I'm telling you, check this group out. Valor Wrestling, okay? LK looking good, that guy, and Chris Renfrew. We telling you, these guys are badass. I'm not going to be the commissioner, even though it's a long distance deal. But I'm going to tell you right now, watch Valor. They're going to fly. I don't say that about anybody else, but these guys, fine. They're awesome.
Make sure you follow them at Wrestling Valor. That's at Wrestling Valor, VALOR. Tod will be promoting it on social media upcoming. You do not want to miss this group. And Tod, we had a big episode last week covering Hardcore Heaven 1995. Got a lot of feedback. A lot of people were interested to know about your first conversation with Eric Bischoff, the Gangstas, and Jim Cornette. And today, I want you, because you brought up the fact that Jim Cornette and Paul Heyman were 2 of the best talkers in the history of professional wrestling.
Still are.
Can you tell me the worst promos you've ever seen or heard in professional wrestling?
Oh, my God. The worst promos I ever heard. Sure.
How many you got?
3
How many you got off the top of your head?
I got 100, but I give you 3 off the top of my head.
3. Okay.
JT Smith. Love JT Smith, right? He came out and tried to say, me and all my fans behind me. But it came out as me and all my Heimies, like 8 times in a row. And Paul and I are saying, that's derogatory. You can't say my Heimies. I didn't. I said, my fans behind me. All right, try it again. Me and all my Heimies. It was like literally 7 takes in a row. It came out as me and all my Heimies. Let's just move on to something else. How about we took New Year Frank Sinatra? Like, it was just brutal. That's number one. Number two would probably Jimmy Snuka.
Butter.
Yeah, one of my dear friends, dear friends in wrestling, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. For some reason, he was smoking with nothing else. I mean, it wasn't like whack whack. It was just smoking some ganja that night. We bring him in, and he's doing um, a promo next to Taz. So Taz is sitting there, and he starts, brother, as the lava flows and the eagle flies, the superfly from the islands, well, this went on, I'm going to not exaggerate, 6, 7 minutes. It's a 30-second promo. And Taz is like going, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what do I do here? Like, I'm not going to disrespect this guy, but I don't know why, but he went on for like 6 or 7 minutes. People were running out of the interview area. So it was just like even Paul and I were at it. It was just Taz, the cameraman, and Snuka. And it was like, my name is brother. We jump off the mountain and freaking all excited. He was not talking about any match or any opponent. He just went off. And I wish to God more than anything I had saved. I used to have all the original recordings here, the ones we took extradited the tape for. And I had all of them, every outtake ever, and they got destroyed in the damn rainstorm, flood, whatever you can call it. Oh, that was in there. Snooker was in there. And maybe my all-time favorite was New Jack, who one night in New York, and I can't tell you what he was thinking because, New Jack's is smart, gets everything. And he was coked up like crazy. And they tape him coming down the steps. And for some unknown reason, he took that 60-second promo and went like 20 minutes.
What?
Like, what, we think I'm lying? U.S. jobber! And okay, then he went, it just, and the whole time he's going like, and it's just on a dark staircase, and it just kept going and going. It had nothing to do with wrestling. It had nothing to do with the next match. It had nothing to do with this match that night. I think myself, the cameraman, and maybe one other guy were there, and like Jack and I would laugh about that for the next 20 years because it was so unlike him. Number one, and he would cut his promo, be good, strong, a little long sometimes, but I kid you not, if Snooker went 6, he went 20. And it's a matter of like, seriously, like, what is that for your next show? Like, what the fuck was that 20-minute promo about Harlem and Atlanta and this and everybody and left hand Louie and the 3-figure Joe? And what the fuck was that? You- Did, did I go wrong? I said, yeah, just a little bit, bro. It's all good. Come on, let's go home. It was the single funniest and worst promo, as well as Snuka, as well as JT. Off the top of my head, I could give you 20 more, but this is the first one that came to my head. I don't want to make the whole show about promos.
Now, speaking of funny and ironic, I was sent a clip, something that happened on June 19th. Don't know if you know I have access to this.
It's my birthday and Sandman's birthday.
It's your birthday and Sandman's, and I'm gonna play this clip now.
The posse?
It is the posse in its environment. Let's check in on your birthday party, okay?
It got wild.
Oh my God, I can't believe they're trying to cut our Medicaid and Medicare again. Again? Again? Man, I tell you guys right at Lenny Glassy, down here with.
Oh, fun and games. Come back later. We'll show you the fun and games.
Yeah, all the yeah.
Good clip. Now what are we going to talk about?
Todd, wild and crazy your birthday, huh?
Well, obviously, with the clip. Maybe I'll get shirts too. We got the music straightened out. Maybe we get the clips and the shirts straightened out eventually.
Or let's get into our topic.
Devious Derek. Devious Derek.
We are talking about the rise and fall of ECW.
That's some jump for my birthday, but hey, it's all good.
The WWE.
By the way, I'm sorry. Did you acknowledge the fact that this was the Extreme Cocktail Hour?
I was getting there.
I don't think you were.
I was, because the rise and fall of ECW, the WWE documentary, you're going to need to get your cocktail ready for the Extreme Cocktail Hour as we break down the documentary. It is a 3-hour documentary. We are watching it bit by bit by bit.
Yeah, when you say we, I know I'm not. So
I know you're not. I am. And I'm going to ask you the questions regarding the history of the company as it is expressed in the WWE, and I call it the lore of what they said the narrative is on what happened in the company you founded back in 1993.
So they must have interviewed me to find out about the evolution of the company. No?
You know, I've watched this documentary a couple times, and I don't remember ever seeing you in the documentary. Were you ever asked to be a part of it?
No. Was Shane? No.
No.
Joey Styles, of course. No. Yeah, that's why it's the unauthorized version of the Rise and Fall. However, my book, which I should have right next to me, and I don't, is the authorized version.
Todd is God.
The authorized version, because I was there. None of the other people making this documentary were there. None of the other people in the documentary were there at the beginning. So how would anybody else know about how we rose? I don't know. Vince.
Do you know who else was not interviewed?
I just know myself, Joey, Shane. No, I mean, I haven't watched it since it came out.
Hack.
Sandman wasn't in it either. He was there night one.
The
Night
original.
One. Suspended from Eastern Championship Wrestling for having an issue with the waitress who worked at that bar. But was always a part of it. Like, wow. So then it must be the unauthorized version.
Unauthorized. So we're going to get the authorized version. And the first question I'm going to ask you, and it's the first thing they bring up in this documentary, is that Paul Heyman came into the company because you and Eddie Gilbert had a bad falling out. Is that true?
That? Oh, she has those buzzers. That is not true. I brought Eddie in. We were doing just regular house shows and spot shows. I'd gotten TV. And once we were doing our first TV taping, Eddie brought Paul down. Eddie's best friends with Paul. I brought him down from New York and said, hey, come on down. I want to use as a manager and maybe help you guys with the promos, whatever it may be. And he came in very quietly as someone who we know was one of Eddie's guys. Not at all what he said.
So how does the end of Eddie Gilbert in ECW happen?
Eddie and I were doing great. I mean, in all fairness, I just wanted to build another Memphis. Eddie was Memphis.
King of Memphis.
And he wanted to be Jerry Lawler, so it all worked out perfectly. I just couldn't stand watching the shit that was on TV. Done, tired. Everybody knows the story. Ultimate Warrior making the Papa Shango making the Ultimate Warrior throw up across the arena, and that was it. I was done. I finally came to a point I'm never watching wrestling again. Started getting involved with Joel Goodhart, He started showing some hard-hitting, hardcore stuff. And when he went out of business, they approached me, can you do this? I said, on a small level, but at least I can watch stuff that I like. You know, the local guys, whatever it is, they're killing each other out there. It's real to me. Everything else I saw was just garbage. And when we got to TV and I talked to Eddie and met him at a show, and I said, hey, I hear you book television. It was like a drug deal. I hear you book television. And he said, you got television? I said, yeah, I got television. Why don't we meet and talk? I mean, it was like so ridiculous. Like, all right, back to back. It was like that conversation started. Long story short, I brought Eddie in. I said, I'm trying to do something that's like what you guys are doing down in Memphis. So if people want to come to like every Saturday morning, like your little crowd wants to, and then just have house shows out of that.
Build a territory.
Yes. I can do that. I said, let's do it. Very first tape he came down on, everybody's coming out with trash cans like the Moondogs were back in Memphis, and we repeated a lot of that stuff. No lie. I mean, Eddie, he's going to bring up the stuff that worked. People up here had never seen it. They didn't get Memphis TV.
Right.
They got magazines and stories, but Eddie brought those stories to reality up here, and that was what I wanted. That's all I wanted. I was happy to have just Eastern be Philly, Jersey, Delaware. Just I wasn't looking to be a monster. I just wanted to be a local guy put on good shows. Obviously, that snowballed or kept snowballing and became this mammoth. But Paulie was just Eddie's friend who was doing manager stuff. And I remember after the very first big show we did at the arena, I went back to Eddie's hotel room and Paul was there. I guess we really get to meet him for the first time, even though he'd been working for like a few months, but he's working under Eddie, so there was a lot of contact. And I said, what if so-and-so can't make it during the next show? What if he can't show up? I said, why don't we offer people their money back? He went, you're too nice for this business. That's exactly what he said. You are too nice for this business. I said, it's doing business. I just wanted to be fair about that. I just want to do what I would have been pissed off if it happened to me. I don't want it to happen to people who come and pay money for my shows. And that was in Eddie's hotel room. And that's when I really got to know Paul a little bit.
The falling out with Eddie takes place. Why?
Eddie, after, like, as I said, we were like close. I mean, we hung out. We did a lot of shit together. We did so many videos downtown and at nightclubs. I mean, Eddie was brilliant. We went to these dance clubs that had like, 90-ish dance clubs where the place was mobbed. And we'd walk in and Eddie'd have the crown on and the cape on and the camera behind him, the big light shining on him and his sunglasses. And he'd just walk through the dance floor while I'm behind the camera guy going, I don't believe he's doing this. I don't believe he's doing this. And he would just enter the club and people would like go like, who the fuck? Who is it? It's okay. Make room for the king. Make room. And he'd walk right through this dark, not disco ball, but he'd walk right through the club like he owned the place. And people would like, okay, they moved out of the way for him. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I see a camera. People see a camera like,
sure, of course.
But he would do crazy stuff like that. There's a place called Jim's King of Steaks. I've told the story 100 times. Steak shop, steak sandwich shop in Philly. Great one, by the way. And he goes to the counter and the guy go, all right, what is the King of Philadelphia? Go, cheesesteak? He goes, no, I'm the king. She was not the king. She goes, but the king is no, I'm the king. And they would start, and he would escalate it to the point where this guy wanted to jump across the counter and hit him with his goddamn spatula. It was like crazy. He had iron balls, but would do it in such a funny way. God, he was brilliant talent.
He was a perfect heel.
Had a brilliant talent. He got it. And he knew how to book TV. You know, hit this segment, now go off and we do a tournament now for we do 12 minutes here. I mean, I was like mesmerized with watching him work. And then eventually, you know, again, this was I can't take exact dates, 6 months later, 8 months later, he started missing started missing editing sessions to put the show together. I needed him up here because I couldn't do that and run my own business.
Right.
That took so much time that I would, you know, I needed this business to fund this business. If I'm doing this business the whole time, the funding's not going to be there.
Right.
So I tried to do both. It was no easy task. And Eddie stopped showing up a little bit. It got me late. I go, Mom, what's going on? I'm sick. That's what's going on. He said, whoa. What are you yelling about? Like, I thought we were like boys. Like, what the fuck's going on? Little by little, it escalated until Paul said, Jim Crockett wants to have lunch with you. I know Jim Crockett, the guy from TBS, the shit that I liked running, that I wanted to become. Like, yeah, all right, well, hang on. I go to Eddie because I thought we're a team. I tell him everything. And what he said to me about the business, I go to him, you're my guy. I've looked up to you. You're the one who's guiding me here. Jim Crockett wants to have lunch with me. What do you think? And out of nowhere, he starts going, what are you doing with Jim Crockett? I said, I'm not doing anything with Jim Crockett. Paulie told me, oh, so you and Paulie and Jim Crockett got a thing going on. Because at that time, Paul's getting ready to leave and start a promotion with Jim Crockett. WNN, I believe it's called.
Yeah, World Wrestling Network.
Yeah, or WW. Okay. I said, I don't even know what he wants. All he knows that he wants to have lunch. I'm asking you, you know, your advice, your opinion. This is not my bailiwick. I'm good at business, but this is not a normal business. Anything that happens in this business, you got to dissect 15 times over to find out what the truth and reality really is. And he just lost it. And I said, dude, like, I didn't even say yes to lunch. I'm asking you what that's it. I quit. I said, what? You go off with that Jew Crockett. Jew? I was more like an Amish guy than a Jew. What are you kidding me? It could be further from being a Jew. Is that a joke? Come on, Doug, we quit. Doug is all right again. I guess we quit. So they left. And for I'm running that show, 4 nights later, I got no main event. Well, I do have a main event. I've got Terry Funk. I've got Stan Hansen. I've got Abdul the Butcher. And also, I don't have Eddie Gilbert. 4 days away. We've been advertising on TV for a month. I have TV up now. Come on, man. It costs me money to run TV. One got Kevin Sullivan to come in, which didn't make it a worse match. Made about the same kind of match that would have been with Eddie.
Sure.
So it's, you know, Kevin Sullivan, Abdul the Butcher, Stan Hansen, who no one has seen in Philly in forever, and Terry Funk. Oh, darn. I could have watched that match for 8 hours. Are you kidding me? And not even realize I put it on a show. Like, that's how great to me, as a fan, that match would have been. He then called me that week and said, hey, I'm sorry, boss. I fucked up. Like, can I come back? And I said, dude, I replaced you. What do you mean you replaced me? I said, Eddie, this show's in 4 days. Yeah, quit 6 days before the show. What's it supposed to do? Go out there and say, by the way, main event, only 3 of the guys are here? I had to do something. Long story short, that was that. And from that night on, he asked me to come back and address the crowd, which he did. Thank you for supporting us. Keep supporting ECW. He realized he screwed up and he felt bad about it. He genuinely had regrets. Well, Paul in the back was supposed to be like helping me out and trying to help me out. I mean, all I asked him to do was keep the guys away from me. Okay, keep the guys away from me because they're driving me crazy. I'm trying to deal with the lighting, the sound, the money,
Yeah.
the bank. I'm doing 75 things I've never done before. I don't even know how to do all. It's like so overwhelming. It's like a one-man, operating squad.
Yeah.
I said, can you help me out? Because I can't tell one more person, Curtis Hughes, whoever it may be, dude, I don't give a shit what your finish is. Just do what you're told to do the job or don't do the job and get the fuck out of it. Like, you're making me crazy. Everybody, what do you think about this? What if we do a Broadway and come back next? Like, my mind's blown that these guys are acting like a bunch of little children. I've never had experience that before with these guys. Paul goes, what's the matter, buddy? I said, what's the matter? Look at these guys. They're lined up. They're fucking all talk about their finishes. And he goes, I got it. So he said, I'll take care of the dressing room. We take care of all the business stuff. And there was a shitload of business stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
those companies have like 3 or 4 people doing that, trying to do that the first night. And he comes back and goes, cut Eddie's mic. He's going, what? And Doug gets all mad. Doug takes a baseball bat and smashes all these glasses in the dressing room. And everyone's not like, what's going on? And he and Eddie never spoke again after that night. You thought Eddie was trying to usurp something, but he wasn't even in the position to be usurped yet, which made no sense at all. The whole dynamic between those two, I can't explain. I mean, it's just something I could never understand.
On the documentary, Paul Heyman said that you gave him your blessing to come in and do whatever he wanted to do. Is that how you remember this going down?
What I remember is he said, do you want me to help you book? And I said, sure, I've got another show in 3 or 4 weeks at Arena and the TV. And we discuss it. Back and forth with it. He says, I can help you with a TV show if you want. And now Eddie's gone. I'm like, dude, that'd be fucking, are you kidding me? It'd be awesome. You would do that? He goes, yeah, I'll do that. Then he said, favor. What's favor? Don't pay me. But can I bring some guys in so I can get a look at them in front of a crowd to see if I want to bring them with me with
Crockett?
Crockett. Yeah, bring in who you want, but they're gonna be the first matches, of course. I got my own stuff all built up for everything. Yeah. And he brought in Public Enemy. And he brought in Jason. And he may or may not have brought in Taz and Dreamer. I'm not sure. But that was it. Everybody else was already part of the locker room. And he brought them in to get an idea. That's why I put in his first match, he put Taz against Dreamer.
Yes.
He put Public Enemy, I'm not sure, but 2 Englishman guys, let's say. 2 students from the school. He just wanted to look at them. Then he'd say to me, what do you think? Want to keep using them or you want me to wait? And I said, these guys are great. These guys hard, whatever. And we discussed it. And I said, let's keep these guys. He goes, I'm going to take them with me when I leave. I said, good. Let's not put a bell on them.
Yeah.
But let's at least get the use out of them while that we can. And then one day, he says, you know what? I can't take it anymore. Fuck. I am not going Crockett. I am ECW all the way. It's you and me. This is like made in heaven. We're simpatico. We get each other. Same sense of humor, kind of similar upbringings. We got to do this together. Be you and me together. Fuck Crockett. Like, damn. All right, Paulie, that's what we can do. Like a week later, the sheets come out and they're going, and Jim Crockett decided to fold his promotion like 2 weeks ago. And I went, you working motherfucker. Come on, man. Suck. I never brought it up to him because we did have something going there.
Right.
So why rock the boat? But that's my first instinct was like, okay, you want to say fuck Jim Crockett? Jim Crockett saying I'm not doing anything. I'm out. Did you think I wouldn't hear that? I don't know. But whatever it was, That was Paulie, and I still love it. I didn't care. But Eddie was gone, and then Paulie was helping me book until I eventually gave him the book completely.
One of the biggest parts of the documentary is they start talking about people that come in, like you mentioned, Public Enemy and Taz. But one of the things they kind of skip over is Joey Styles. All of a sudden, he's in the documentary being shown as the ECW announcer, and he was not the original ECW announcer. Jay Sully was. What do you remember of Joey coming into the company?
Well, that's easy. And no disrespect to Jay Sully or Stevie Wonderful or anybody else who started out doing our announcing. But to them, they were as green as us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all green as I have done this before. And one day they come to work and they walk up the ramp, and there's like nerdy looking guy with the glasses and he's in his underwear in the locker room. I thought, oh God, do I gotta get security? What the fuck is that? I go, excuse me, kid. Yes, sir? I said, I'm Tod Gordon. He's, wait, Tod. And he started trying to pull his pants on. I go, what are you doing in your underwear in the locker room of my show? I'm Joe Bonsi or Joey Styles. Paul told me I could come down and do a tryout, do a match as a tryout. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like it was one of the funniest meetings for the first time anybody I ever had in the business. And of course, he did the one match or two matches, and we listened to it. We said, who is this guy? Fuck. He did this by himself. He doesn't even need a color commentator. Yeah. And he did have one for tryouts, He's amazing. He's so like on point, bang, bang. And he hadn't ever been to one of our shows before. But he had studied up, whatever the case may be, and he was fire, as they say. He was just so good. He really didn't need a color commentator. And I can't tell you anybody else I've ever heard in the business that didn't need a second guy to like work off of. I need to work off of you. This one needs work. Everybody needs that push. Not him.
Yeah.
He's
the only one who's ever called a whole pay-per-view without a color guy.
He's amazing. He was so talented, it's absurd. But, he also had a limit of how much abuse he could take, and that was it for him. But the point is, he won't even do a convention. That's how sour he is on the business. And that's a shame.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to him, I said, come to the convention, man. You make a couple of dollars or sign. Nah, I'm good. Wrestling is out of my blood, and that is very difficult to say.
Yeah.
You tell me anybody who's had wrestling in their blood who's able to get it out, and I would say, well, he'd be first, and I couldn't even be second. I don't know who would be second.
There's not much. Jack Briscoe would be the only other one off the top of my head, because when he retired from the WWF, he wiped his hands completely of the business. After that, there's not much else.
Yeah, he was a worker for that time. Then he went to WWF. But then he was kind of old at WWF, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was on the older end of things, but he also sold GCW to Vince McMahon. And part of that was that, he would help the transition, and Jerry was an agent. And then they brought him in as a tag team. And Jerry's told this story to me before, and it's one of my favorite stories. They were sitting in an airport in Buffalo, and he goes, I'm going home and I'm done. Jerry's like, what do you mean you're done? He's like, yeah, I'm just going to go home. I'm done. We had a body shop. I have real estate. I'm good. And he never did anything else again until he got inducted in the Hall of Fame. So
that's amazing.
He's really one of the few.
Yeah, and Joey's another one. That's amazing. I never knew that story before. It's a great story.
Yeah, it's a great story. We were contracted for 10 dates a month. They ended up doing 30, and they were doing it for 7 months. And he finally turned to Jerry and was like, I'm good. I'm going to go head home, and you keep doing what you're doing. And, Jerry's still involved in the business. Jerry's a great guy. You two would have a hell of a time sitting with each other, talking with each other. I promise you that.
I would love to know him. I met him once at a convention. It was like, hey, how you doing? But I would love, 100%. I love his sense of humor. Yeah. But he went for his brother, Pat Patterson, as a tag team partner. He probably made 10 times more money running around in his underwear with Pat Patterson than he ever made with his brother wrestling like a son of a bitch.
Yes, he did. And he's got stories for days, I can tell you that much. One of the cool things about the documentary, though, is once they get done talking about Joey, they move into WCW. We touched on this last week in the Hardcore Heaven episode, but it's really ingrained in this DVD how much WCW was an enemy. But it wasn't portrayed as being an enemy to ECW, it was an enemy to Paul Heyman. And in one of the clips, Tommy Dreamer compared joining WCW to joining the Taliban. It's one of the most asinine comments, but do you think Paul's relationship with WCW affected the way ECW did business with WCW?
Now, Tommy Dreamer also released clips saying that at a WrestleMania he had fantasies of what? Doing what? Go ahead.
Jumping over the guardrail and shooting Paulie in the head
During a live pay-per-view.
during WrestleMania. That was going to be his WrestleMania moment.
So I'm guessing he was kind of under the influence of Paulie when we would talk about WCW that way. In retrospect, you see he's now worked for almost every other company out there. He's like a management in TNA. He's got the great deal going, Busted Radio. Tommy's doing just fine.
Tommy's doing great.
Yeah. So he obviously was under the hypnotic spell at that time where we would think WCW would be that evil.
When you think about the amount of talent that's gone back and forth between WCW and ECW, but the homegrown talent of ECW, one of the names they featured was Tommy himself. What's your first memory of meeting Tommy Dreamer?
All right, this is going to be a funny memory, but we were doing a dope, and not the first time I met him. He had been working for us. And he always come to me after every show, go, Mr. Gordon, I would die for this company. I'm not bullshitting you. I would die for this company. And I'd be like, Jesus, guy thinks. He was sincere as he talked about it. But my first real memory is we had a double shot in Valley Forge Music Fair in Delaware that night. I rented a bus because my locker room was the kind of locker room that I'd have been lucky if a third of them made it to Delaware that night. I just want to make sure the guys would show up for both shows, you know? And we're driving home from Delaware. It's probably 10:30, 11 o'clock at night on a big bus. I hear Sandman scream, Gordon! I'm going, turn to what? Dude, come here. I go, what? He is, these guys are all paranoid to fire up because you're on the bus with them and you're the boss. Do me a favor, take a hit of this. I go, are you serious? He's just show them it's okay, please. I take the joint. First time I ever done this in front of any wrestlers ever. Took away its hand in the back room. By the time we get back to Philadelphia, the bus driver was driving like hear music. We got off the bus and Tommy Dreamer, straight as an arrow, all the way through ECW. One of the few guys he has. There are certain guys that are straight all the way through, but there are few and far between. He got off the bus and started going, and doing this dance, we're all going, what the fuck is Dreamer doing? He got a contact high. There was that much pot smoked on that bus ride home. You had a Hawk, and you just had a bunch of guys blazing up in that bus. And he got off that thing, started dancing. I said, yeah, this guy's all right. He doesn't realize he's all right, but he's all right. And he danced, and all the guys made fun of him, of course. And that's really one of my very first memories, oddly enough.
When he starts with the company, he's in suspenders. He's your typical white meat baby face.
He's the guy, typical white meat babyface that the ECW arena crowd despised.
Hated. And in that market, Philadelphia, the toughest there is for a babyface to get over. Did you ever imagine you would see Tommy Dreamer as the innovator of violence?
No. I thought they're going to ride this guy out of town on a rail. He was coming out of that long flowing white robe and the hair poofed up and and I said, this guy, and I even turned to Paul, I said, you're throwing this guy to the lions. You're killing this guy. Why would you do that? If you like the guy, I'm done with him. The crowd hates him. And then he turned around and did the angle with Sandman where he got caned 10 times.
Yes.
And I've never seen a wrestler in my life turn an audience from not caring, like lethargy, not even caring about you, like go away, into becoming such a factor. And I've said also, I said in my book, I think, I believe there's such a thing as a captain of a team,
Yes.
and all the wrestlers voted for captain. I think Tommy Dreamer would have been elected captain of the locker room. The boys loved him that much, and he was the one that didn't party, and they still loved him. They all partied. He didn't, and they loved Tommy Dreamer.
Talked about Hack, the Sandman. He's the embodiment of ECW. Let's start to get in your relationship with him from Eastern Championship Wrestling to the hardcore icon of ECW. He starts as a surfer, working with Don Morocco. Eventually,
It took a while to get to Don Morocco, who's with JT Smith and Tigra and mixed tags matches, and JT Smith. It took him a while to get up to Morocco status, yeah.
and eventually he's beer drinking, cane swinging, cigarette smoking, the hardcore icon. But you two, to this day, as seen earlier on that clip, best of friends. How do you two click like that?
Everybody asks that. You're like, what is this? This is like something's wrong with this picture. You two together. I'm in my suit and tie. He's got the beard and the cigarette. And they're like, I don't get it. But what they don't get is A, how smart he is. Heck, Sandman is so fucking smart. It's unbelievable. He absorbed this business. It's like the thing I did, like at a ravenous pace, like couldn't get enough of it, and absorb more and more and more and more and more. We got to a point where he never won a match and didn't care because he knew he'd get over by drinking a beer. The match was over. He made his entrance, and it's something he makes a living off of to this day.
Yes.
I always tease him, and I say to him, I go, if someone ever asks you what you do for a living, just say entrances. Because that's all you fucking do. You get paid to fucking do an entrance. He goes, it's a lovely thing. But yeah, he was reminded, besides having the same birthday, we both were diehard Philly sports fans, like all four sports, soccer, hockey, basketball, baseball, and football. And we would debate everything. You think he should start? Yeah, you think he should start? And we're like, they were just great debates. We both made good points. And he's also something no one understands. He was actually very kind back in that time period, and still is to this day. He's just, if I had a brother ever in my life, which I didn't, he would be my brother. He could have been my brother. Yeah, my younger brother. Like, there was something about him that he and I can't explain it. No more than I can explain Scorpio or Fonzie. I mean, these three, they're all so different. And we all just kind of like meshed together. And that's why they're still at my house 35 years later, celebrating a birthday. Yeah. It's amazing. And by the way, Sandman's podcast right now, I know I'm doing a podcast. His podcast with his kids,
So entertaining.
it's not been done before. Whoever thought of having your kids but when your kids are smart to the business, including Tyler, who's actually out at the ringside doing Raven at age 5, who's brilliant to the business himself. And Ollie, his other son, I mean, it's so entertaining. They all watch